Alright. Let's edit this. Let's check if we're streaming. Make sure we're good. You gotta make sure the audio is all cool and set up. Alright, I think we're ready to go. Alright guys, this is going to be the calculator section for the April 2018 little review session right before the June 5th SAT. Let's get into it. If 6 times 2k equals 36, what is the value of 4k minus 2? Okay, let's go ahead and solve for k by dividing by 6. It's going to cancel this. Remember, whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. 2k is going to equal 6, so k is 3. They want the value of 4k minus 2. So if we plug in k here, we get 4 times 3 minus 2 is 10. The number of people who rode a certain bus each day of the week is shown in the table below. Which of the following is true based on these data? The bus had the most riders on Tuesday. Not true. Friday had more. Each day from Tuesday through Sunday, the number of riders on the bus was greater than the previous day. Each day from Tuesday through Sunday. So Tuesday through Sunday. Not true. It decreased right here. These are both out. Each day from Tuesday through Sunday, the number of riders on the bus was less than the previous day. Not true. It increased right here. The 2 days with the fewest number of riders were Saturday and Sunday. It has to be true. A physician prescribes a treatment in which a patient takes 2 teaspoons of a medication every 6 hours for 5 days. According to the prescription, how many teaspoons of the medication should the patient take in a 24-hour period? Okay, so we're taking 2 teaspoons every 6 hours, right? For 5 days. How many in a 24 hours period? 2 teaspoons every 6 hours for 5 days. Okay, that's fine. So how many hours are in 1 day? It's 24, right? 24 hours in 1 day. So that means that 24 divided by the 6 hours a day, or the 6 hour intervals, I guess, would be 4. So there's 4 intervals of 2 teaspoons for 5 days, if that makes sense. So 4 times 2 is going to be 8 times 5 is 40. So she's taking 40 every 5 days. How many should the patient take in a 24-hour period? So if that's in 5 days and we divide by 8, we divide by 5 to give us 1 day, that would give us 8. So the answer is C. 100 Park District members will be selected to Wow, that was the worst I've ever had. 100 Park District members will be selected to participate in a survey about selecting a new Park District coordinator. Which of the following methods of choosing the 100 members will result in a random sample of members of the Park District? Okay, biggest word here is random. Obtain a numbered list of all Park District members. Use a random number generator to select 100 members from the list. Give the survey. I like this, right? We're using a random number generator, nothing biased. Obtain a list of all Park District members sorted alphabetically. No. Park District members sorted alphabetically. This part right here already gives some bias, and then it's giving the survey to the first. No, that's too biased. Doesn't make sense. Tell all Park District members volunteers. No. Biased again. Obtain a list of all park who are attending an upcoming event. Again biased, so the answer is A. Number 5, which of the following expressions is equivalent to the expression above? Let's go ahead and distribute. So we get 2x to the third plus 2x plus 2x squared minus 2x. These are going to cancel. So we get 2x to the third plus 2x squared, or option C. If x plus 3 equals 2x minus 2, what is the value of x minus 4? Let's go ahead and solve for x. Let's subtract 3 on both sides. So we get x is equal to 2x minus 5. I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 2x over. X is equal to 5. Let's plug that in for here. 5 minus 4 is equal to 1. The functions f and g are defined by f of x equals 4x and g of x equals x squared. For what value of x does that equal 4? So f of x minus g of x, they tell us f of x is 4x and they tell us g of x is x squared. So let's just do 4x minus x squared equals 4. Subtract over that 4. Actually no, I don't want to subtract over the 4. Let's just plug and chug. If we plug in 2 for x here, that will give us 8 minus 4 is equal to 4. That works. So the answer is D. The function g is defined by blah, blah, blah. What is the value of g of negative 30? Okay, look what's in the parentheses here. X. Look what's in the parentheses here. Negative 30. What does that tell us? Negative 30 is x. Let's plug it in. 2 times negative 30 over 3 plus 3. 2 times negative 30 is going to give us negative 60 over 3 is negative 20 plus 3 is negative 17. Scatter plot above shows the total number of home runs hit in a Major League Baseball in 10-year intervals for selected year. The line of best fit for the data is also shown. Which of the following is closest to the difference between the actual number of home runs and the number predicted by the line of best fit in 2003? Let's look at 2003. So this is the actual, right? The dots are the actual values, and then the line of best fit is used to predict values. So the line of best fit is going to be a prediction. Looks like it predicts about 4,500. And then the actual value looks to be about 5,250. So the difference between those is going to be 750. The line graph above shows average price of 1 metric tons of oranges in dollars for 7 months in 2014. Between which 2 consecutive months shown did the average price of 1 metric ton decrease the most? This is an increase, this is an increase, this is a slight decrease, maybe, and then fat decrease, and then another slight decrease. So it's definitely going to be June to July. Which of the following is closest to the median price in dollars of the 7 recorded prices of 1 metric ton of oranges? Be careful here. A lot of my students went ahead and said, oh, it's May off the bat just because May's in the middle. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's the median. Remember what the definition of the median is. It's the middle value when the data values are organized from least to greatest. So let's organize these from least to greatest. So our least value is going to be August, and then maybe February, and then July, and then let's see, what's that one right there? March. And then after March, I'd say June, May, and April. June, May, and April. Let's go ahead and cross off. Cross. Our middle value is March. So the answer is going to be about 808. Right? Because March is at about 808. In 2014, the average price of 1 metric ton of oranges decreased by 2.36% from January, not shown, to February. Okay, so let's take a look at how many are in February. Ooh, I'd say that's about 768. So February, 768, is going to be equal to the price of January decreased by 2.36%, which means we're multiplying it by let's see here on my calculator. 100 minus 2.36, 97.64. So it means we're multiplying it by 0.9764. So let's go ahead and divide both sides. And we get that January is equal to let's see, 768 divided by 0.9764. That's going to be 786. Ooh, so about 790. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, roof type. The table above shows the distribution of single-story and two-story houses in a neighborhood classified according to roof type. If one of the houses is selected at random, what is the probability that it will be a single-story house with a slate roof? All right, it says if one of the houses is selected at random. Okay, remember, that's going to be our bottom of our fraction because probability is the number of, I guess, desired outcomes over the number of possible outcomes. What are the possible outcomes? It's one of the houses are selected at random. So it can be any house, right? Like that's our larger pool, and the larger pool is always going to go on the bottom. So that's 48, right? There's 48 total houses. And then the top of the fraction is going to be the ones that are single story with a slate roof. And let's see how many are single story with a slate roof. Looks to be about 4. So it's going to be 4 out of 48, or option A. For the solution of the system of equations above, what is the value of x? Okay, system of equations. This time they kind of gave it to us easy. All we have to do is add down. and that's going to give us 4x. These y's are going to cancel out by elimination, is equal to 0. So what does x have to be? 0. Load capacity of a certain washing machine is 12 pounds. What is the approximate load capacity of the same washing machine in kilos? Okay, so this is a unit conversion. The first thing we need to do with the unit conversion is take what they give us and write your units. Don't forget to write your units. 12 pounds. We're going to multiply that by a conversion factor given to us. And we want pounds on the bottom because we need that to cancel out to be left with kilograms. So 2.2 whatever pounds. And then that's going to be equal to 1 kg. And pounds are going to cancel. And we're going to be left with kg. And we get 12 divided by 2.2. Looks a bit to be 5.4, around there. Triangles A, B, C, and D, E, F above are similar. How much longer than line segment, blah, 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 blah. Okay, remember, these triangles are similar, meaning they have all the same angles, and their sides are proportional. So what we can do is we can say, okay, well, if this side is 4 times greater than this side, then that means that this side has to be 4 times less. And the same with this side, right? Because the sides are all proportional. So we need to divide this by 4, and that's going to be 5.25. And then if we divide 29 by 4, we get 7.25. And they want how much longer than line segment EF is segment DE. So then they just are really asking for DE minus EF, which is equal to 7.25 minus 5.25. In this case, that's just 2. Which of the following is true about the standard deviations of the two data sets in the table above? Okay, on the SAT, for standard deviation, all you need to know is that a high standard deviation means spread apart, your data is going to be spread, and low standard deviation means close together, or closer together, I guess. So let's take a look. Data set A goes from 25,000 to 40 to 49 to 62 to 73 to 118 to 126. Okay. Data set B goes 22, 55, 173, 300, 358, 456, 603. Off the bat, I can already see the data set B is more spread out, right? These values have pretty big intervals between the values, so definitely a higher standard deviation on B. So I will definitely say that the answer is A. All right. The velocity v in meters per second of a falling object on Earth after t seconds, ignoring the blah blah blah. If there's a different linear relationship between the time and velocity on Mars, as shown in the table below, if an object dropped towards the surface of the Earth has a velocity of that after t seconds, what would the velocity of the same object? Ooh, interesting. So they give us the equation for velocity of a falling object on Earth, but they don't give us the equation on Mars. But they do give us a table for Mars, which is kind of cool because then we can find our own equation. Now notice how they give us this point 0, 0, right? That means our y-intercept is going to be 0, meaning we just have to find the slope and then we're done. So we're going to use our slope equation. We'll call this point 2 and point 1, and then we'll use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's going to equal our slope. So let's go ahead and do that. We get 29.6 minus 14.8 over 4. Let's see what that is. 29.6 minus 14.8. And we're going to divide by... Oh, no. Oh, yeah, okay. Whew, I thought I just messed up. Divided by 4. So our slope is going to be 3.7. So their equation for Mars is going to be equal to 3.7t. Okay, so now we have our two equations. And they said if an object dropped toward the surface of the Earth has a velocity of 58.8. So let's plug that in for a velocity on Earth. Divide by 9.8 on both sides to find t. So we get that t is equal to 58.8 divided by 9.86. Okay. What would be the velocity of the same object dropped toward the surface of Mars after t seconds, ignoring the effect of air resistance? So after t seconds, we found our t seconds at 6. So let's just plug 6 into there. So we get 6 times 3.7 is 22.2, or option B. In the xy plane, the graph of line L has a slope 3. Line K is parallel to line L. Okay, parallel. Off the bat, that means they're going to have the same slope, right? Because parallel lines always have to have the same slope because they have no solutions and will never intersect when graphed in the xy plane. So A is automatically out, B is automatically out because they don't have slopes of 3, they have slopes of 1/3 and negative 1/3 respectively. So now it's just between C and D. How do we know? Well, they tell us it contains the point 3, 10, so if we plug in 3 for x, right, because this is x, y, if we plug in 3 for x and 10 for y into each of our equations, it should work. So let's try for C. I would get 10 is equal to 3 times 3, 9 plus 7. That's not true. C is out. That's got to be D. And that makes sense, right? Because 10 is equal to 9 plus 1. A certain colony of bacteria began with 1 cell and the population doubled every 20 minutes. What is the population of the colony after T hours? Okay. So we're going to use y equals a b to the t. Actually, there's a few ways to do this. Let's not do that yet. First, we'll just do it the regular way. So if it's doubling every 20 minutes and we start with 1, then we go from 1 to 4 to, or 1 to 4, Jesus. 1 to 2 to 4 within the first hour. 1 hour. And then hour 2, we go from 8 to 16 to 32. We go to 64, right? Because it's every 20 minutes and there's 3 intervals of 20 minutes in each hour. So it would really go like that. Because this is 1 interval, 2 interval, 3 interval. And then the next hour would be here. 1 interval, 2 interval, 3 interval. So the answer is 64. Now we can also use y equals ab to the t, our exponential growth formula, where a is your starting value. And the reason a is your starting value is because when you plug in t equals 0 into the equation, we get a b to the 0, and anything to the 0 power is just 1. So we just get y equals a. So that's why a is our starting value, in case you were curious. So a is our starting value, b is our growth factor, and we can just start plugging things in. So y is equal to, and they tell us our starting value is 1, so 1 times b, which in this case is 2, because we're doubling, right? And then for the t, the exponent's going to be a little bit tricky, but every time you see something that says every, you have to divide, right? So if it was every 3 hours, we'd be t over 3, etc. In this case, you have to be careful because we want 20 minutes in terms of hours. Well, 20 minutes is really 1/3 hours, right? So we'd have to do t over 1/3 hours, which is just going to be 3t. And they want after 2 hours, so we plug in 2 for t. So y equals 2 to the 6th, which is equal to 64. Cool. Circumference of Earth is estimated to be 40,030 kilometers. And I already know this is going to be a conversion factor problem, and I know that because they give us this little parenthetical statement of equivalence, or I guess an estimation because they use that little squiggly, but you get the point. It's an approximation, so they're kind of telling us that we are going to need to use a conversion factor, dimensional analysis, whatever you want to call it. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to get that, and we want this in miles, so kilometers is going to go on the bottom because we want to cancel that unit out. And then we get 0.62137 on the top, so let's multiply. 40,030 times 0.62137. It's going to be 24873.4411. Okay. And that's in miles, by the way. Always write your units. Always write your units. Cancel, cancel. Cool. Let's read the problem. The circumference. So this is the circumference in miles. Circumference miles. In miles. Okay. Which of the following best approximates the diameter? Okay, you have to know the equation. C is equal to pi times diameter. So that we know that this is the circumference, so let's plug that in for C. So we get 24873.4411 is equal to pi times diameter. Divide by pi on both sides. Let's divide this by pi. So I get 7,917, which is option C. The budget for a school band was $8,000 in 2010. The budget decreased by 15% from 2010 to 2011, and then increased 22% from 2011 to 2012. Which of the following expressions represents the budget in dollars for the school band in 2012? Okay, so we're starting with $8,000, right? And then we're decreasing by 15%. When you decrease by 15%, you need to multiply by a number that's less than 1, and that number is going to be 0.85. It's less than 1, and the way I like to do it is I just like to do 100 minus whatever you're decreasing by, and then turn it into a decimal that's less than 1. So we decrease by 15%, check. And then we need to increase by 22, and we need to multiply now because we're increasing by a number greater than 1, and that's going to be 1.22. And that's just going to be our answer. So the answer should be B. Alright, 23 and 24 refer to the following information. During mineral formation, the same chemical compound can become a different minerals depending on the temperature and pressure at the time. A phase diagram is a graph that shows the conditions that are needed to form each mineral. The graph above is a portion of the phase diagram for aluminosilates. I don't know. Blah, 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 blah. Gigapascals on the vertical axis. Alright. An equation for the boundary line between the Andalusite and Sillimanite regions approximated by the equation above is approximated. Okay, what is the meaning of the t-intercept? So the boundary line between Andalusite and Sillimanite. Let's look where that's at. Andalusite and Sillimanite. I don't know how to say that. Whatever. Boundary line is right here, right? This is literally a boundary line. It separates the two. So the t-intercept in this case, they're asking what is the meaning of the t-intercept. Well, the t-intercept is 760, 0, right? It's kind of like an x-intercept. But essentially what this is going to be it's going to be the maximum temperature at which Andalusite and Sillimanite can both form. The maximum temperature at which they can both form. Not at which Sillimanite can form. That's not right, because look, Sillimanite can form at 795 degrees way up here. 760 is not greater than 795, therefore A is out. It is the temperature at which both Andalusite and Sillimanite can form when there is no pressure applied. Yeah, I like that. I like B. It is the temperature at which both Andalusite and Sillimanite can form when there is no pressure applied, right? There is no pressure applied. We know that because gigapascals, which is pressure, is 0. And that's the temperature at which Andalusite and Sillimanite can both form at that time. Alright. Let's take a look at the next problem. 24. Which of the following systems of inequalities best describes the region where Sillimanite can form? This is interesting. So, Sillimanite can form. Let's take a look. Sillimanite can form in the blue region I just bounded, right? So we have to basically find an equation or an inequality that represents this region right here. So I can already tell you that this line right here is going to be y is less than or equal to something, and that this line is going to be y is greater than or equal to something, right? That's what we would need in order to have this solution over here. We would need greater y values here and lesser y values here. So we need to find the slope of each line, and we can do that using y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's do that. Let's do this line first. So we're given 2 points, this point and this point. So let's go ahead and find the slope. So for this line right here, the slope is going to be let's plug that in. 0.38 divided by negative 250. So it's negative 0.00152. Okay. And then, ooh, this is interesting. Okay, so we know that, and then we can go ahead and fill that into our inequality that we have so far. So we have y is greater than or equal to negative 0.00152x plus some b value. And we can find that b value by plugging in a point on the line. So let's plug in this point right here. So we get 0 is, I'll just use an equal sign for now, negative 0.00152 times 760 plus b. So this value, this negative 0.00152, we're going to multiply that by 760. And that's that. So, and we're going to make that positive, and that's going to equal b. So 1.1552 plus 1.1552. So that's the equation of one of our lines. Well, let's take a look at which ones have this thing. And remember, I said that there had to be a greater than and a less than. These are both greater than, so this is out. This could still be in, this could still be in, and this is out. Okay, so I already got a line with a slope that was, let's see, what did we say the equation of our line was? Y is greater than or equal to, let's copy this and see what if it matches up with anything going on down here. Paste. Y is greater than, well, they're using p and t, which is fine, but y is greater than or equal to, yep, 0.15t plus 1.13. I like that. Ooh, and then, okay, we just need to find the slope of the second line, and then we are done with that problem. Because they both fall under this line, which we've already found, so they are both these answer choices are still in the running. We just need to find out which one of these is correct, and we can do that by finding the slope of the line. So let's find the slope of this line now. We can do that again by doing our points. So 1 minus 0.38. Let's try that. .62 divided by 795 minus 500, which is 295. So 0.0021. Which line has a slope of 0.0021? It's going to be option B. Awesome. Okay, system of equations above is graphed in the xy plane, which the following points to the graphs of the equations intersect. Let's go ahead and FOIL this out, I guess. So y is equal to x squared minus x minus 6. Okay, and then that's going to be equal to 2x plus 4. We can set those equal, right, because they both equal y. And then I'm going to subtract the 2x and the 4 to the other side. So I get x squared minus 3x minus 10 is equal to 0. And I can go ahead and factor, and I get x, x minus 5 and then x plus 2 equals 0. So x is going to equal 5 or 2. And then I can go ahead and find my y value. I can already cancel out a and cancel out b because that has an x value of negative 3, but we know that x has to be 5 or negative 2. Okay, from here I can already tell you that c is going to be wrong, but if you want to check, you can just plug in any of these x values into here, and we get that 5 times 2 is 10 plus 4 is 14. Done. Gas mileage, m of s miles per gallon of a car traveling s miles per hour is modeled by the function below, where s is between 20 and 75 inclusive. According to the model, at what speed in miles per hour does the car obtain its greatest gas mileage? Okay, so if we we know this is going to be a parabola because it's quadratic, right? And it's opening downward because of this negative sign here. So it's going to look something like this. And at what speed the greatest gas mileage is going to occur here, right? And this S value is what we're looking for, kind of. This S value at which it occurs. So we can do that by finding the vertex, the X value of the vertex, or the S value of the vertex in this case. And we can find that by doing X, or S, is equal to negative B, oops, that was weird, B over 2A. Where this is your A value, this is your B value, and this is your C value. So let's see. S is equal to negative 4 over 2 times negative 1 over 24. That's equal to 48. So the answer is B. The table above shows selected values for the function h in the xy plane, the graph of blah blah blah. What is the value of h of 8? Okay, let's go ahead, and we know this is going to be the graph of is a line. Oh, it tells us it's linear, so that means as soon as you hear a line, you should hear y equals mx plus, you should be thinking y equals mx plus b. How do we find m? Well, we need to find our slope. So let's go ahead and call this point 2, point 1. 11 minus 7 over 4 minus 2 is equal to 4 over 2 is equal to 2. So y is equal to 2x plus some b value, and we can find that b value by plugging in 7, 2. So 7 equals 2x. Oops, 2 times 2 plus b. So 3 is b. So then the equation of our line is y equals 2x plus 3. And we want h of 8, so let's plug in 8 for x. So 2 times 8 is 16, plus 3 is 19. The front row of an auditorium has 10 seats. There are 50 rows in total. If each row has 2 more seats than the row before it, which expression gives the total number of seats in the last row? Okay, so the first row has 10. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm going to copy this if I can. Not convert. Copy, paste, paste. Okay. Okay, so these are what the first 4 rows look like. We can set up an expression. I'm pretty sure this one's going to be A. And I know this because it's a pretty obscure problem, but I know this because okay, obviously D is out. 2 to the 50th power is a ridiculously big number. It's just, there's no way. Total number of seats in the last row, 50 times 12. That's going to be a really, really big number. I just don't see how that's going to be the answer choice. It doesn't make sense. 2 times 50, which is 100, plus 10 is 110. And then the option A is 49 times 2, 98, plus 10. Okay, so the way to do this problem is to realize that this is going to be adding 2 each time, right? And we're starting at a base value of 10. So we get the 10 plus the 2 that it's adding times however many rows it is far, like the 50th row minus however many it is far away from the 50th row, if that makes sense. I'm not sure how to really explain that, but let me give you an example. So for this row, the 11th row, or I mean the second row, sorry, not the 11th row, the second row, we know we have 12 seats. So because it's the second row, it's going to be 48 away from the 50th, right? So that's going to be 50 minus the 48 it is away. Then we get 10 plus 2 times 2, which is 14. Oh, hold on. Oh, no, I was wrong. Sorry. This should be 49. Sorry, it's 49 rows away. It's not 48 rows away. It's 49 rows away. Right, because this is 50 rows away from the 50th row. And this is 49 rows away from the 50th row. And this is 48 and 47 and so on. So if you plug in each one of these numbers and you go down the list, you will see that this function will work. So the answer is A. But it's a pretty obscure problem overall. An ecologist selected a random sample of 30 prairie dogs from a colony and found that the mean mass of the prairie dogs in the sample was 0.94 kilograms with an associated margin error of 0.12 kg. Okay, which of the following is the best interpretation of the ecologist's finding? Prairie dogs in the sample? No, not all prairie dogs necessarily have a mass between that and that. It's not necessarily true. Most prairie dogs have a mass between 0.82 and 1.06, maybe. Any mass between 0.082 and is a plausible value for the mean mass? Yes, the answer is C. Because there's a margin of error of 0.12. So it could be 0.12 higher or 0.12 lower. The mean mass, we just don't know. There's a margin of error. Oh, hold on. I just noticed something weird. These two answers are really similar, except for this one says sample and this one says colony. In the sample. Yeah, the answer is C. You can't, if you didn't take data from the whole colony, then you can't make an assumption about the whole colony. You can only make an assumption about the data you collected, which was a sample. Answer C. A poster has an area of 432 square inches. The length x in inches of the poster is 6 inches longer than the width of the poster. Which of the following equations can be solved to determine the length in inches of the poster? Alright. Dang, this is kind of weird, but let's see. Let's draw a poster kind of thing here. Area of 432 square inches. Okay. So remember, area is equal to length times width. In this case, the length x, so it's x times w, we'll call it the length x, so this is x and this is width, sure. The length of the poster is 6 inches longer than the width of the poster, okay? So x minus 6 is equal to the width. That's fine. Which means that x is equal to w plus 6, or x minus 6 is w. It doesn't really matter. So we'll say that x minus 6 is w, whatever. So remember, x times x minus 6 is going to equal 432. If we distribute this, we get x squared minus 6x equals 432. Cool. If that equals that and that equals that, what is the value of that? Possible value of that. Okay, so 2x plus 3 is 5. And 3y minus 3 is 6. We're going to drop those absolute values. We're just going to solve. 9 is equal to 3y. So y could be 3. That is possible. And y could also be, or x could be, let's see, 2. X could be 1. So then 1 times 3 would just be 3. Scatter plot, blah, 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 blah. In year 4, the difference between the actual revenue and predicted revenue. So actual, remember, actual is the actual dot and predicted is, this is predicted. So I'm going to do a star for predicted. N $1 million, and what is the value of n? Well, the difference is just subtract. So it'd be about 55 minus 50, which is about $5 million. Figure above is a floor plan drawn by an architect for a small concert hall. The stage has a depth 8 meters. Okay, and 2 walls. Okay, a seating portion of the hall has an area of 180 square meters. What is the value of x? Okay, so this has to be 6. And this has to be 6. Which means this whole thing here is 12, right? The reason I know that this has to be 6 and this has to be 6, is because of Pythagorean theorem. So you could go ahead and plug in if you want, but I just know that it's a 6, 8, 10 is a Pythagorean triple, so this has to be 6 and this has to be 6, meaning that whole thing is 12. And then 12, remember, area is base times height, so 12 times x is equal to 180. Divide by 12. Divide by 12. Uh, 180 divided by 12. 15. 15 is the answer. Jacob bought 2 types of pens, blue pens that cost $60 each, or 60 cents. So 0.6 for a blue pen. I'll do capital B. And red pens that cost D times as much as the blue pen. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, wow. Red pens that cost D times as much as the blue pen. So 60D. Interesting. So Jacob bought 2 types of pens. Blue pens that cost $60 each. Okay. 0.6B. And then 0.6B plus... Okay, so 6 red pens plus 3 blue pens is equal to 10. Oops, not 180. 1080. And then... Oh, okay, I see what they're saying. So then blue pens are 60 cents each, and red pens. So red pens are equal to D times as much as a blue pen. So D times 0.6, I guess, which is fine. So I'm just going to plug D times 0.6 in for R. I think, yeah. We'll try this out. We'll see if it works. If not, it doesn't. It is what it is. Equals 1080. 0.6 times 6. What is 0.6 times 6? Am I being dumb? 1 and 3.6. Never mind. 3.6D plus 3B is equal to 1080. We want to find the value of D. Oh, wow. Okay. So this is not going to be 3B here. This is going to be 0.6B, right? Because it's $0.6 per pen. And then this is really going to be 0.6 times the number of blue pens he bought, which was 3. So 0.6 times 3 equals 1080. 0.6 times 3 would be 1.8, if I'm not mistaken. So 3.6D plus 1.8 is equal to 10.80. Subtract 1.8 from both sides. I'm going to get... I'll move over here. 1080, let's see, 10.80 minus 1.8. 9 divided by 3.6 on both sides to get D. D is 2.5. George took a non-stop flight from Dallas to Los Angeles, a total flight distance of that many miles. The plane flew a speed of that many first 75 minutes. Ooh, okay, so how many minutes did the plane? Okay. So I'm going to convert everything to minutes. 75 minutes is equal to 1.2, or convert everything to hours, sorry, because we're in miles per hour. And then at the end, I'll go back to convert to minutes because that's what we want. So we have 1.25 hours for a total of 460, or we have 460 miles per hour for a total of 1.25. Okay, and remember, distance equals rate times time. So that's why I'm doing the multiplication here. So I'm doing the rate times the time, and the rate for the rest of the flight was 439, and for x minute or time, because we don't know the time. And then that's going to equal the distance, which is 1233. So let's do 460 times 1.25. That's 575 plus 439x is equal to 1233. So let's do 1233 minus this. Oops. 658. 658 is equal to 439x. I'm going to divide by 439. So I get, let's see, divide by 439, and that's going to be that weird number right there. And then to convert, this is in hours, remember, to convert to minutes, I need to multiply by 60. So it's about 90 minutes. Arc of a circle measures 2.4 radians to the nearest degree. Okay, so when you go from degrees to radians, you're going to be multiplying by 180 over pi. And when you go from radians to degrees, you're going to be multiplying by pi over 180. In this case, we're going from radians to degrees. So let's do 2.4 times pi over 180. Let's see, second pi divided by 180 is this, and multiply that by 2.4. And that should be oops, I messed these up. Yeah, that didn't look right to me. Sorry about that. Okay, when you're doing degrees to radians, you need to do that's when you need to do pi over 180. Sorry. And then when you're going radians to degrees, that's when you do 180 over pi. Ooh, almost messed that up. So then we're going to do 2.4 times 180 over pi. So let's do 180 over pi. Not divided by 4. I meant divided by... Dude, what? Man, delete. Second pi. There you go. That's that. And we're going to multiply this by 2.4. Come on. 138. Done. Carrier packaging engineers designing a container to hold 12 drinking glasses shaped as regular octagonal prisms. Our initial sketch of the top view of the base. Okay. If the length and width of the container initial sketch are doubled, how many more? So when the area is 9 times 12, which is 108, she holds 12. Because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so when the area is 108, she holds 12 glasses. When the area is are doubled, so then if this is doubled, this is 18, and if this is doubled, it's 24. So 18 times 24 would be, let's see, we're setting up a proportion here, for 432, and then it would hold X amount of glasses. So let's do a little cross multiplying. We're going to divide by 108 on both sides. Divide by 108, 48. But originally we held 12 glasses, so we need to, it says how many more. So it's 48 minus 12, which is 36 more glasses. Alright, carry whatever. The area of the base of the newly designed container is 25% greater than the area of the base in the initial sketch. Well, the initial sketch is 108. So 108, 25% greater. We just need to do 108 times 1.25. And that's going to give us... ta-da, 135. Alright. Those are my solutions to the April 20